Well, I had the spotlight on our two tieflings in the party. Bambartilus was maybe
He
not so
did
much a
kind of.
bully, but he was a stern host. He himself went first into this zone of truth that one of his sons had cast inside their home. And let's begin with Mordecai first, and then we'll go over to Norlai. And take us into the head of your character. What's going on in this moment, or in general? Give us a glimpse of what's happening from your perspective.
Well, I feel like I've spilt my guts all over the room.
Yes.
Um, Something that I probably was eventually going to have to tell the whole party at some point. Uh, just kind of got poked and prodded out of me. So that's a whole thing. I'm a little bit of a mess because that's rough. But at the same time, we're also going to be dealing with some of Bambartilus' past. Sorry, I can speak today. Um, so yeah, that'll be fun.
Okay. Yep. And then you took up a position in the window here. Had set up a little bit of an overwatch as things are starting to get spicy. Um,
Yep.
Noralai.
I'm too sad to really talk about it.
Yeah, you did seem kind of bummed out there, Noralai. You took up a position too, and that was of tending Brayson the donkey.
Yeah, because he's gonna try to run, but he was tied down, so he probably hurt himself. So I had to make sure he was loose.
All right, so Noralai's playing, some kind of like a bummed out mix of music. If this was if this was Team America World Police, then this is the bummed out version of America F yeah, the really slow kind of country sounding one. All right, so then the Ballad of Noralai is playing as she is not necessarily in the mix. Now you did cast a spell, and we'll get to that. So you're participating. You're just doing so with some reservation and a bit from afar.
A
Um,
far distance away.
let's pop over to let's just keep going down the line. Celine, what's going on with you?
Hmm. I feel for Mordecai.
Mm.
I sympathize with his loss. The tragedy of such a thing is not something that is lost on me.
Do you find that that's a common misconception that just because you have accepted the tenets of the goddess of death, that somehow that makes you cold to that event or the emotions it can cause?
I don't particularly like that misconception, but I can see how it comes about.
Hmm.
But all I could ever say to Mordecai is this. We just, she is not a god who takes. She's not a god of take. She's not a goddess of taking. When one's time comes to an end, she is the one who appears, offers her hand, and says that it's time to go. Your time is done, and that something new awaits you.
Well, then,
What I what
no,
I am
go ahead.
going to do in the next 5 to 10 minutes with these enemies standing before us is that we just and her agents do not take souls, do not take lives. Not unless threatened. And these people are quite threatening to me. And then that's it. That's all I had to say.
As Bambartilus pointed out, his ex, which is some kind of a fiend, and he's not just saying that because she's his ex, is in the business of taking souls, and that could be a big distinction, where Weejas is more about the acceptance of a soul than the taking of a soul, in order to shuffle it on to where it might need to go, instead of just eating it for a snack and pooping out a demon later because of it. So hopefully it doesn't seem like there's necessarily been any love lost between Mordecai and Celine, but I think a scab was kind of picked with Mordecai during that confession, and I think this is an opportunity for you two to really share a bond, and to grow and to heal. And who better to heal a wound than a cleric, even a cleric of death. You might be uncomfortably close due to the topic and the nature of your domain, but I don't know. I think you might be up for it here. Speaking of scabs, I'm sorry. Was there anything else that you needed to add?
No. I was just agreeing.
Speaking of scabs, here we have Jade the Wretched, who is no stranger to injury, or healing, or just the odd things that a body can do on its path to rebuilding, restructuring, regrowing into all sorts of interesting shapes and forms. Jade, what is going on in your corner of this story?
Derek, are you saying stuff?
Oh, yeah, I can't hear you.
Learning a new microphone, go figure.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
It's fine. We filled our allowance. I didn't mess up, on mine, but there's an allowance for
Might
it.
as well have been me.
Someone's got to jump on that
Hold on.
grenade. Okay, yes.
Jade is conflicted. Her heart, for lack of a better term, would most certainly find itself pining over her Mordecai's loss, if she hadn't already lost him long ago. It's weird to hear a corpse speak of its life and say it in the way a still beating heart would. And then there's Norlai. Jade can understand the commitment, the want. But no matter what Jade would ever tell Norlai, she's certain Norlai would never listen. Doesn't matter what warnings would be posted, she would pursue this path. And she would, I told you to be quiet! She tried not to interrupt. This is a process she needs to learn. I know she needs to learn on her own. I am aware of that. But it's getting difficult. It's getting difficult now more than ever, as Jade's thoughts are not her own, or maybe it's her own coming back to her the way things should be. Time is running out, and yet, with absolute clarity, Jade can speak, but she knows she wouldn't be heard. And then there's the path coming. Green Shield. Their destination, and onward. A threat lives there, she knows it. No one else would see it. No one would perceive it as a threat, but she knows it's there. And she has to be wary. She can't be seen. But that's neither here nor there. Right now, focus on the front. I know they will make it. They will be where they need to be, and then it'll come to pass. That one thing, it's coming. It's coming. Am I losing my mind?
Well, I'd say I wish the best for Jade, but I don't know. I don't know what that might be. So we can, I guess, only plod forward and find out where life's path takes us. On that note, a path that is trodden through life by the large, the small, and even those who can turn into tiny little versions of themselves. We have Bright. Bright, what is happening in your corner of this story?
Okay, so I'm really sad for lots of people. Really, actually, kind of bummed out, and it's a bummer because Bambartilus' treehouse is almost like being home. I mean, living in a tree is nice, and he makes such good honey roasted nuts.
Mm-hmm.
He used a Zone of Truth spell because I've been trying to not use those kinds of spells as much anymore because I know it's not very fun for the people that are in them. And that's true for Mordecai, but also for Norlai. Mordecai, I mean, we knew he was going to tell us these things eventually, but the thing is that Norlai, she kind of already told us most of those things, and it's almost like we were picking on her, like we didn't believe her. And that's too bad because it's really hard for Norlai to work with us. She's never really quite fit in, and we don't want to do things that make it seem like we're picking on her. That's just not very nice. As far as Mordecai, that he lost his fiancée, and I kind of know what that's like. So, although not in the same way. So I do feel really bad for him as well. But it's all stuff that I think was coming out anyway. So I think he's probably going to be okay. And as for Jade, I'm sad for her too, because she's not losing someone else, she's losing herself. And she sees it coming and there's nothing she can do about it. It's almost like she has terminal disease, but it's only lasting for a couple of days, and that's really sad too. So I'm just kind of really sad for everyone. But there's some things to blow up with fireballs, and that's always nice. So, I mean, we can always look on the bright side, and by bright side, I mean the side that's bright because it's burning with fire.
Yeah. Is it a bit of an awkward thing for you, Bright? As a divination wizard, control is very much an aspect, or if not control, then perhaps a foreknowledge of things to happen, and yet we have this sadness that is so close to, well, I mean, home in a sense, that all this sadness is happening, all these events are happening sort of outside, within your field of your profession, and yet there doesn't seem to be much that you can do to directly alter that. Is that how does that make you feel? Or am I incorrect?
Know that I really know what you mean. I mean, nobody has control over everything, and I mean, it's kind of an open question how much control anyone has over anything. That's been kind of one of the main points of dispute in the party, and in the whole game, really. So, I don't think I would ever expect to control everything, and actually, that wouldn't even be fair. I mean, that's why I'm stopping or trying not to use the mind control spells as much anymore, because they're too dangerous. But I think everybody has at least a little bit of control over where they go. That's enough. We only need a little control.
In the moment, as we're going to switch over now to our quaint logging camp turned battlefield, you have a target-rich environment, and we'll just see where the bright side is based on the zones of your spells. All right, so where we had left off here. Let me make sure that I pull you over. Okay, I pulled you to the right one. We had another logging camp that that Bambartilus and his two boys, Glenn and Gary, had recognized, and apparently they were taken over by some fiends, with the leader of these fiends having taken over the tiefling, sort of the matron of the camp, the one who was doing all the cooking, and was probably the one in charge, because lumberjacks are definitely creatures that operate off of their stomachs. And they started to march up. They demanded that Bambartilus, come with them. and there was a bit of an exchange. Bambartilus looked to you all as he had confessed that, he had made this oath to a fiend, and he had since broken it, and he's been running ever since with his boys. And through some encouragement, it seems as if this is going to be a place to make a stand. Hopefully not a last stand of some kind, but I guess only time and some dice rolls and strategy will tell. We had Mordecai. Remember that you are under a bit of you feel a little queasy here on the island. So there's a special condition that you're currently under as you're on the island. Aside from that, I think there was a couple of you had put up some spells. For instance, Bright. There are several of you swirling around. And we have a Jade's Hunger is the purple box. And the blue box was a slow, or was that something else?
That was slow.
Okay.
It's slow.
All right.
And the pink box was the fireball.
Yes, and the pink box was a fireball. The fireball did consume a good number of these creatures. And as that happened, you saw that as they were taking damage, their skin suits fell away, revealing inside, almost like a human, like a squat humanoid shape of fat or pus, or just some gnarly looking.
Although we can't see that.
Flesh, kind of yellowy white. Different cankers and stuff were all over them.
What I think is burning too.
Oh yeah, no, those guys. Yeah, I forgot about those.
We do have. We had Bambartilus, who is right here, who came up and swung with his sword and his shield. And these things look like they were at one point the implements of a very dark or cruel person, just from the way that they just exist by looking at them. But he busted him out of a lockbox, and his two boys, Glenn and Gary, ended up tying a rope to their tails, dashed forward, and ended up tying these two lumberjacks to this tree by kind of running around and pinning them. Let's see. We have Norlai. Norlai was over here and is tending to Brayson. And because you all had you'd drawn your first blood, we were going to now go into proper initiative and sort out what was going to be happening. So, if you would all so kindly roll me an initiative, then we can get this party started.
I made an initiative.
Hey, look at that.
Oh, I am not. I am really not.
You've got
Well,
cleric
that's good.
initiative.
You're better off actually going last. You know what's going on, so you can react accordingly.
I suppose, yeah, if people need healing.
I'm not worried about you doing healing. Healing's the last thing. It's just you at least know what the plays are starting to be. Right now they can go anywhere. But for you kind of have this ability to check, see what's happening, be able to react accordingly.
That is true, yes.
A lot of people underestimate the idea of being lower on the initiative.
Oh yeah, no, being low on the initiative order is good. If you have the stuff to do whilst...
Eddie, do you know about the in-game initiative tracker?
Yes. However, because I didn't make the tokens in a proper fashion.
Doesn't
You
work.
can still use it.
Oh, all right.
Again, it's just
I'll have to get into
manual
that then.
track.
All right. So we have Bright. Then I get to do something. Then we have Norlai. Now we have a tie between Mordecai and Jade. Who would like to act first?
I will.
Mordecai.
Take it.
Stepping up. Then we have Jade. Then we have Celine, and then I get to finish things up. with the exception of the NPCs, but I'm going to have the NPCs just go last in every round to keep things simple.
Fair enough.
Let's see, and NPCs. All right, so we have at the top of initiative with that nice critical 23. Bright, what are you doing?
Spicy.
Yeah, so the ones that caught fire, they're still up though, right? I mean,
Correct.
as far as we
Yeah.
can tell.
Yes,
They
but you
didn't
can't
actually
see them.
burn up.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't see them.
Oh, actually, no, that is actually true. I believe it's that guy. Well, that guy.
Right, but they didn't all burn up. They just still active,
Yes.
even though they burn. Okay.
Their flesh suits had burnt away, revealing these creatures, these fiends inside.
Oh,
Which are
that's not
currently
so
getting slurped on by the hunger of Jade.
bad. Bambartilus, what can you tell me about the main woman? Does she control these creatures, or is she just a thing?
They're all under control. Their directives. She might be giving them some simple orders.
Okay. Then I'm not concerned with that then. So I'm gonna just. It's really kind of crappy that I have to do this because I would like to do better things.
They're not going to stop, Bright. Don't feel sad for the departed.
Okay, don't worry. We'll be okay. You don't understand what I mean. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cast a magic missile, and that's gonna be a level 2. And I'm going to fire all 4 of the creatures that I can see down here
In the north part of the map?
on the south part, the ones that I'm pinging.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm seeing.
He's good.
I'm seeing the arrow. That's Norlai's arrow.
Oh,
Okay.
I thought I turned it off, sorry.
Okay. So the 4 in the south. So the one Bambartilus is on, the 2 on the tree, and the one down by the fallen log.
They each get 1.
Okay.
It looks like it's gonna be 4 damage to each.
Okay. And this one is taking 4 damage. All right. All right. So you strike them with a flourish, or however you spread out your magic missiles. They fly and impact, and you've breached this. You've breached their skin suits, which start to like, they have holes and they're starting to fall away, and you can see that inside are these puppeteers of these poor former lumberjacks. These creatures inside have somehow manifested or possessed them, and it looks like their skin suits just aren't holding up too well after that. And this one, which had been struck already, you end up taking a chunk out of it. Like, this magic missile, this magical force impacts, and just almost like someone just blowing a nose, like right out the side, it flies off of this thing, and it just snarls and makes all sorts of really gross sounds, as if nothing happened. The chunks out of it, but it doesn't seem to be registering pain, like, why would you do that? I'm gonna vow revenge, etc., so forth. It's still fighting. Anything else for you, Bright?
It's just, I just want to say that it's really nice when things don't vow revenge. Okay, that's all I'm done.
All right, next up, we have... Oh, all right, so this is now the start of the turn for our possessed tiefling. And so at the start of her turn, I get some of the effects of Jade's Hunger of Jade.
The cold damage. Yep.
Starts takes 2d6 cold damage. Okay.
Come on, double 6.
Wait, doesn't the damage dice go up because you went up spell slot levels?
No, no.
Not at all?
No, this spell unfortunately doesn't scale with spell slots.
Aw, poop.
Yeah. I think that's because it's like free damage at the start of a turn, and
makes
then
sense.
saving throw at the end of it for more damage.
What was the damage on that?
That's 2d6, hasn't popped up yet.
Is there a
haven't-
hiccup on roll 20? Roll 20!
I see you there, corner gremlin. Go away. We're in the middle of combat.
Oh, but the ears.
Put it on him anyway.
Everyone say hi to the Gathering of Nerds Corner Gremlin.
Gremlin, gremlin, gremlin. Yay! Good gremlin.
I'm a Pikachu now.
Well, if something's getting lost, I can still I can still narrate what's going on here as at the start of its turn, it is going to take this cold damage from this manifestation of the cold depths of space or whatever, something beyond our comprehension. It is going to then emerge. It is going to emerge from the darkness. And there we go. Thank you, Celine. We can use that as a fill-in.
If they were getting lost. But that's decent damage, actually.
So Jade, as this large tiefling lady walks out, you see that she's just covered in this frost, and the skin suit that this demon inside is wearing begins to crack, almost like the super sped up effects of cold and ice on the ground, and how it'll wedge apart rocks and all that. You see that her skin is sort of like freeze dried and falls away. And as this rather plus sized tiefling, the skin falls onto the forest floor. Standing there is now a very bulky form. It has all kinds of spines and ridges down its back, looking almost like a bipedal lizard. 3 massive claws on each hand as it's and it shouts something in Abyssal, which in a
What does
pinch
it say?
on your turn, Celine, you can translate through. However, you all can probably presume what it's saying by its actions, and that is going to be to try and attack old man Bambartilus here. And it is going to do so. Okay. So it goes in to bite, and Bambartilus is he tries to block it with his shield. But really, all he has, because he's going into this, he wore like pants and a straw hat, and like he hasn't really changed much besides grabbing a sword and a shield here. So it bites, and he tries to bash the maw out of the way. He overextends, and it bites onto his shoulder, and then it comes in with a claw, and it's scraping across his body here. As he's fighting against this very gnarly looking lizardish fiend, and that is going to be
Everyone, I'll take care of the fiend.
Okay.
That means I get leftovers.
No, kitty.
Oh,
Oof.
ouch.
all right. So our figure ends up having several tears in his flesh, and as he is just savagely attacked by this just really funky looking thing. That is its turn though, as it is looking to reclaim its mistress's errant ex. We now come down to Noralai. Noralai, I saw you measuring out some stuff. So what are you doing here on your turn?
I was hoping some of the guys would move closer to me.
Can you say it again? I didn't hear you.
I was hoping some of the guys would move closer to me, but I guess it wasn't their turn.
No, it's not their turn yet.
No, you can
That's
hold
at
an
its turn.
action if you for a particular circumstance if it occurs.
I'll just hold Ray of Frost until they get within 60 feet of me.
Okay, so the first enemy within 60 feet of you is going to get Ray of Frost?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
So you'll roll that at the time.
Yeah, I was just throwing it up there.
Okay. Alrighty, so you're holding on to a Ray of Frost, and then we come down to Mordecai.
This is not looking good. So, how tall is this log down here?
It would be 10 feet high as it's standing.
Okay. And these?
Each of the smaller ones would be 5.
5. Okay.
Yeah.
So I would be able to get cover behind them if I decided to dimension door over there.
Yes. In fact, that seems to be what Glenn and Gary had done initially, when they were rooting around for some weapons, but they were kind of like dodging and weaving behind or amongst the logs.
Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is call out to who do I want to inspire? I'll call out to Celine and say, be careful of the fiend, and consider that a bardic inspiration, I guess.
Alright, you're still a D8 at this point for Bardic?
Yes.
Alright, I'll keep that in mind then.
And then I will cast Dimension Door and zip on over here behind cover.
Okay. And is as a part of this, is your dimension door? You do not suffer the effects of the moving water. As you're turning yourself into some kind of mist, and you instantly pop across and are hiding now behind the large log. Anything else from you, Mordecai?
That'll do it for my turn. Do I still feel nauseous, or am I okay?
You're okay now.
Okay, perfect.
You're on solid dirt.
Perfect. That'll do it for me.
Now we come down to Jade. Jade, what are you doing here?
Well, I can't be ungracious to her host, and clearly he has his hands full with more than one individual. So Jade is going to use the river and the bridge for now. She's going to purposely step away, but then I believe we have another... I am going to end up casting Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
So I'm going to move there, and Eldritch Blast is easily in range to deal with the far one here.
Sure. Let him rip. And or tear. Ooh.
Ooh.
Only 3 points, but it's a start.
That's a solid hit.
Do you have 2 Eldritch Blasts by this point, or are you?
Oh, I do.
Yeah, second
but
beam.
I can choose whether it goes to a second target.
Okay.
I'm
That is
waiting
true. You get to
for
choose
what
target
the
for me.
first one is.
All right. So the first one, this gnarly image. In fact, you did a very good job illustrating it in one of the week's prompts. If any of you want to see what Jade's Eldritch Blasts look like, it's in our past art prompt on our Discord here. But this massive gnarling like gears and all sorts of stuff rips across the battlefield and like almost we're appropriate. We're in a logging camp, almost like a buzzsaw. You just see this like just this fat or grease or something just fly out and kind of mist up the area. But the thing is still unfazed by. Well, it's not unfazed by it. It has taken damage, but it doesn't seem to recognize pain or injury here, as it still seems to menace Bambartilus.
Yes, and as it recovers to thinking, oh, that wasn't so bad. The second one ends up doing so, except this one, instead of being a buzzsaw of wonderful gears, this one's more like the springs on a clock inversed, almost like gnashing teeth, clicking to rhythm as it clamps down on the shoulder and starts to try and drag itself back, almost like a mechanical flesh hybrid of a piranha. It just starts gnashing as it starts to grip onto him.
All right, the second one then joins its twin, and just absolutely grinds this thing into really nothing. For as much of a splatter, as much of a sort of a grotesque display as this is, the thing just falls apart into chunks, and as it does so, it just kind of evaporates out of existence, as if it wasn't there. And so all of the snot and flesh and fat and all this other stuff just sort of disappears. All right.
Alrighty.
It is now Celine's turn. Celine, what would you like to do?
Ah, yes. It is now my turn. Seeing Mordecai kind of just disappear and reappear over in the corner, she gives him a side glance. Just like... she gives him a side glance, kind of half sympathetic, half saying, "Let me show you the truth." And as a bonus action, she's gonna grab her. She's gonna grab the sword handle. She's going to murmur a word under her breath, and its blade of radiant energy will spring to life.
Okay.
That's right, I got a lightsaber! And as an action, she looks to... How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. She looks to a spot around here. And she thinks for a moment before looking at these. Whoop, don't do that. Looking at these two here. And she is going to cast Chill Touch. And thanks to Reaper,
Yep.
I get to target both of them.
That's true. They are adjacent. So you get a nice 2-for-1 here. Death is
I do
apparently
get
a
a
very
nice 2.
efficient.
I do get a very nice 2-for-1. Oh, that first one is probably not going. Oh, are they restrained? Because if so, the attack would be with advantage.
And last time,
rope
by the...
Yeah, they're roped to the tree. I think they're. I don't think they're restrained. I think they're immobilized because the tree's holding them back. But it's just like a rope going around their midsection, so they can still like like flail.
But they can't dodge out of the way efficiently.
They can still.
So-
Yeah.
That would still technically be
That's still
grappled.
restrained.
Grappled?
Grappled is restrained. It's the same thing.
Grappled and restrained are two different conditions.
Grappled
mechanics.
They're
just
different
affects movements. Restrained affects everything else.
Yeah. Well, restrained does movement and does other stuff as well, like
Then in that case, yeah, because some of the conditions are sort of like Matryoshka dolls or the nesting dolls, where if you describe one, they have several effects underneath it. So yes,
Yeah,
they are tied to the tree. They are immobilized, but I guess that would fall under restrained.
Okay. Good. Yeah. So in that case, will a 17 hit?
Yes.
All right. So that first one, I'll say it's the one on the left here. That guy right there is taking. Ooh, he's taking 12.
Oh, that's a lot of damage.
Okay.
And then I'll roll the one for the second one.
Describe your spell effect as you're doing this.
Yep. And I'm guessing 17 hits the other one as well, because
Yes.
I'm going to describe them both at the same time. And the second one, this guy here will be taking 9. So what happens is, she basically gives Mordecai this look of, witness me. She flicks the blade to life, and with a gesture of the blade in her hand, this massive spectral reaper appears behind the two guys here. Swings through one with its scythe and then the other in a rather pretty flourish.
All right. So this manifestation occurs. The skin suits were already compromised, and as this manifestation of death falls on the battlefield, and very much does reap both of these just gnarly looking fiends here, and they also they make a splat on a mess. However, it all just disappears, and the rope that's tied to the twins' tails goes limp, as there's now no bodies. I mean, there's skin suits on the floor; those haven't disappeared, but the puppeteers inside them have just.
And then I have movement left, so I'm gonna move up to close to Bambartilus here. Basic, and as she walks, she says an abyssal to the fat one. It's just like, I warned you.
And because this was your turn, it was issuing a demand that you will return with me to see the lady.
And I will, at the end of my turn, as I get that, I'll, as a free action, share that with everyone loudly so that Noralai can hear as well.
Okay. I now get to do something, hopefully, besides assault an NPC. And I will.
So
Oh,
just
I'm sorry, was there
for.
something else?
No, I was just gonna say, just for your knowledge, Matty. Those in the slow move at half speed, and
Yes.
don't have an action or a bonus action, but not both. And the Hunger of Jade is difficult terrain.
Okay.
Speaking of, they're gonna be taking some damage right now.
Noralai, I would like you to roll 2d6 for me, please.
Out of 4.
Okay. Noralai, your held action can go off here as
Whoa!
Oh. Oh. Oh.
and then another one is going to manifest back up here.
Yeah, hey Noralai, you might
Cheating,
want
you were on
to.
the map.
Oh, you might want to run.
All right. So what you see here are, and I'll indicate it just by blue here. The blue dots are showing that these are similar these crusty looking. They look undead, probably not, considering the fact that they sort of evaporate. But these fiends reappear in various places around the battlefield here after apparently just being dissipated. And now they manifest. And so Norlai, your one, you hear one that's behind you and one that's close, that's off to your side. Which one is going to be receiving your spell?
Shoot. Well, the one closest to me, and that's not a good roll. Hold on.
Okay, yeah, that's so that's a 9. You're startled, unless there's anything else that you want to do to manipulate this roll.
Tides in chaos, cough cough.
Yep. Advantage, please.
Okay.
So you would technically have disadvantage for attacking a target next to you with a ranged attack.
Well, then to attack the other one, I guess.
I mean, no, you still have disadvantage anyway because there's a creature within 5 feet of you and you're making a ranged attack.
I don't think that's a rule.
Well, what about-
though?
That is a rule. That's how the rule
I
works.
mean,
If you
I
have a
can-
creature within 5 feet of you, your ranged attacks have disadvantage.
Can I attack the
Unless
one
you have a
that's
feat
not
that says
within
that they
5 feet of
don't.
me?
It's only when you target the creature next to you, so you should target this one, that's all.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, is
Can I just target that one?
Sure.
You should be able to target that.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
you can target that.
I'll target that one.
All right. So Ray of Frost goes off. This is a cantrip, correct?
Cantrip, yes.
All right then. So there's no.
I do have.
There's no forced.
I do have to roll for. I do have to roll for Tides of Chaos. So.
If to regain it, you'll have to manifest. So.
And that's when you cast a spell of first level or higher. So not yet.
Yep. So you can feel Lorelei. There's perhaps some kind of it's a similar but different static where there's this buzz going on around you that the magic is forming, is kind of like clinging to you like static electricity. It's not the same as the one as the flavor of it that the flowers were imposing. But you can feel that as you're casting your magic here with your Tides of Chouse. The invocation of chaos is drawing close to you. And at some point in time, you're going to have to resolve that. All right, but anyway, a 22 certainly hits, and for 17 cold damage,
It's a hefty cold damage.
you do your sort of like your magical girl invocation here, and a ray of frost shoots out from your hand or your tail or your horns, or I'm not sure. You can apply the cosmetics here. And it frosts over this fiend here, and it crackles, and you can see chunks of it starting to fall off. However, it kind of like flexes, and the ice, instead of it falling apart, the ice falls away from it. And while you have put in work on this thing, it is still up. It is still menacing. Okay. There we go. And now they are going to take their turns. And so Norlai, this one's is going to come up and start gribbling on you. We have, let's see, this one's in the water, so that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it's gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one is only gonna get half movement, so 1, and then it's gonna start going into the water, and it's gonna just sort of be bobbing and swimming here. So these ones aren't doing too well.
Can Bryson run away? They did time loose so he could run.
Brayson, if you want to have Brayson do something on your turn, you may.
Okay.
At the start of their turns, the ones that are inside the Hunger of Jade are going to be affected by it. So I'm going to need 2d6 of damage on them. Ooh.
Oh!
Okay.
That's a nice
Jade's
double six.
really
Sweet, yeah.
So,
Jade is really hungry.
yeah,
Kentucky Fried Death.
a 6 and a 6. All right, so
Your stomach is a graveyard. No enemies shall escape your sight. You devour your enemies whole, especially if they're Kentucky Fried.
Yes.
Hi there.
all right, they come out and they're frosted, but they kind of and they're fat and pus and all this other gross stuff kind of ripples, and a lot of the frost falls away as they emerge through. You've put in work on them for sure, but they don't seem to be phased by this extra dimensional, or I guess I don't know, like weird, like quasi-dimensional manifestation of outer space that you imposed on them here. Actually, this one's gonna start coming out this way. This one's going to, I guess, just double move up on Bambartilus, and this one is going to move up. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it starts moving. And Mordecai, you can hear this thing. Just as it's breaking twigs and walking over leaves, and you can just hear like the splorch of these, just these gross, like infected feet and everything, kind of like as it's tramping along, and it is going to it's kind of sniffing around. It's like touching and. And it climbs up on top of the log here. All right, so we have the ones that were slowed or are trying to make their way across. This one who just sort of popped in. Okay, now on Norlai, they are going to try to do some things here. With these just gross-looking claws, they are going to rake at you. First one is going to hit unless you're doing anything to change my rolls.
No, actually, might as well.
Whoops.
Alright.
Mm-hmm.
For the first one, roll a d4 and subtract it.
Ooh. All right, so it is going to be I rolled a 17. I'd be hitting a 19. Minus 1 is going to be an 18. So is that still hitting you?
Oh, I thought you rolled a 13.
Oh,
What was that for something else?
the first D20. I'm seeing a 13 and a 17.
Yeah. I thought it was a 13.
Oh, did I make an error? I guess I didn't need to save against anything. So, oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Oh, well, hang on. It was the 13. The 13 was for the sniffing around and trying to find Mordecai,
Okay.
and then the 17 was for the attack.
Okay, I'll take that back then. I was confused.
Sure, that's fine. All right, so it is going to strike you. You can take your bend luck back, And
how much would it say for me for?
as it does, these kind of like just curled, like dripping claws end up. They draw blood. You know, your clothes have been ripped, and as it kind of hooks in and it's saying all sorts of stuff through its through one of the several holes in its face. It could be a mouth, but I'm not going to make assumptions.
As a reaction? Yeah, no, if you can't bad luck, set it on fire!
All right, so Norlai, you are struck, and your innate ability to cast Hellish Rebuke as a tiefling goes off. Is it like a self-defense measure here? Do you want to say or do anything to add an effect to this Hellish Rebuke?
No, I just have like a generic anime girl scream.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Naughty.
So this thing, this thing that strikes you, it is hit by the force of your fire, almost as if, you know, like ripping your skin, just release this inner fire inside of you. It washes over the thing, and let's see. What is the damage?
25.
25. Good golly gracious. Okay.
I was very upset about it.
All right. So.
Over 5 damage. Beautiful.
You see then as this fire erupts from you, it tries to block it, and you just see this like it's not even like fat or meat now. It's like gristle and burnt and charred ash. It's like blown back. If you've ever seen Terminator, it's in the dream sequence where Sarah Connor runs up to the chain link fence as the nuke is going off, and just ends up, you know, the flesh like tears away. Then it's a skeleton, and the skeleton turns to powder as it's blown back by this nuclear fire, and so this creature here just withers underneath your hellish rebuke. The other one, seemingly unfazed by what you did to its bro, is going to crit you.
Oh no. Sad.
Would bad luck make that not a crit?
Crit's still a crit, I think.
I know.
All right. Fortunately, though, it maybe it was like partially blinded by this blast of fire, as the rolls were definitely below average here. So Norlai, you know, you're there, and the fire's settling down, and this other thing lunges and ends up like catching you on the hip, because these are small little duders here, kind of gribbling around, and you take 8 points of slashing damage. As the claws are tearing at you. We have one that's on Bambartilus. And, it's going to hit Bambartilus. He does his best. The old man is trying to wield his shield effectively. Maybe it's just been a while since he's had the need to pick up the sword and shield again.
Oh. So, having a look, because Bend Luck changes a dice roll, doesn't modify it, properly changes a dice roll, rules as written, it can't create critical hits, but it can negate them.
Now keep that in mind. He didn't roll too good, so it's fine.
Yeah, no, that's fine, but no, just something to keep in mind. It's very interesting.
And Bambartilus is, you hear him go, I haven't had a fight like this in some time. Next up, because I don't believe there are any other... Oh, there is one on Celine. I'm going to roll around my cat.
Okay. Right. Go ahead.
And, alright, so Celine, this thing goes up and it manifests, right? It just sort of who reconstitutes, and it lunges forward, and you are able to very gracefully, just sort of like sidestep away as it tried to lunge with its claws and hook him into you here.
Instead of doing that, because I do have because I am wielding a shield currently,
Okay.
Can I just bash it in the face with my shield as it tries to bite me?
Sure, that's fine.
So instead of getting me, it just gets a nice taste of metal shield.
It lunges forward and
Just like dunk.
and because of like the pulpy mass of its flesh, a little bit of any sort of like heraldry on your shield is left imprinted on its face. Okay. It is now NPC's turn here, and Bambartilus calls out, "Boys, you might have to use your gifts." And they are silently nodding here. Bambartilus takes a moment and composes himself, and coming from his wounds are things that look like little claws that sort of like reach out of his wounds and pull his flesh together, and then like kind of a wispy smoke acts as a bit of a suture here, as he's trying to keep himself going. He looks at the giant kind of lizard fiend and is snarling. It sounds abyssal, but it's not actually any abyssal words. This is just rage, and you're getting this something inside of him is awakening, and he is not happy. Let's see. We have Glenn and Gary here. Gary is the one who's carrying. Gary carry. And so Glenn is going to... is going to run up and...
I imagine he removed the rope from his tail, right?
Yeah, he's going to, it's just suddenly his brother whips around the trunk of the tree. Ah! Untie me, brother!
Untie me!
It slips off. Maybe they're like keeping it kind of like partially curled at the end of their tail, and he sort of like lets that go, wiggles out of it here, runs forward, and he is going to he starts speaking in abyssal. However, the words themselves aren't necessarily manifesting as like your soul will go to hell and all this. Instead, in a bit of maybe a surprise, he's drawing on the spirits of nature and the protection it can offer, and to provide a warding of sorts. What I need actually you to do, Celine, is I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
A wisdom save?
Yes.
The gas.
As he's uttering words in abyssal about purifying this place of fiend and fey alike.
Okay, is it a charm effect? Because that's important.
No, this is a turn effect.
You are inspired.
It doesn't matter. She rolls a 17.
Oh.
Oh.
So that'll be a
18,
23.
That's even better.
It
That'd
has
be a
been
23.
decreed.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, 24 then.
So, Celine, these words in abyssal are affecting you in an odd way. Like it's making you feel panicked. However, maybe a little vision of Bright kind of like shows up and goes hee hee and disappears as you're bolstered, and you are able to weather this effect as Glenn dashes out and invokes this turning here, and this is also going to wash over a couple of the other fiends. Let's see. I'm gonna roll for my two little gribblers first.
This is why I left Piggy Sue out of this battle. acting like this.
She's just hanging out in the house. It's fine.
No, she's in her place.
And
Damped out.
both of them are going to turn to Glenn and like spittle and all sorts of goo like flies out of their mouth here as they appear to be quite taken aback by this presence. And then for the former tiefling cook, all right, this large lizard fiend is just simply going to look over at Glenn and let's see. The other one is going to Norlai, have you made any kind of like were you like screaming as you were hit, or in frustration or panic or scared, or are you calm and this is just sort of a natural reaction?
I probably made some noise.
Okay.
You did your anime girl scream to do your.
Yeah, I had my anime girl scream.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The other one comes dashing up, looking over at his brother and his father, and says, "I'll go and help the girl. Hold them off here. Seems like they're everywhere." And he starts running off to the other side of the map here on his turn. Then we have Bambartilus, who is going to in Abyssal. He looks at this lizard creature and begins chanting something. Celine, this is. He may have said that he has broken an oath to his ex, but this man knows how to say explicit oaths that may not necessarily be contractually binding, or perhaps in a way they are. As he looks at this like lizard-like fiend, and vows that it will fall to its blade, and there's like a spark of magic that shoots out from him to the lizard in front of him. For a moment, seemingly like binding them together, and
is that a vow? Is that a vow of enmity, good sir?
he is quite angry, and it does seem to be some form of a promise that he made.
Okay. I think I am getting a grasp on what he is capable of.
All right, so he swings wide, but there's a collective gasp, like, oh, he just completely, the absolute madman. It looks like he might have he might have like overswung and exposed his side, and as that happens, he takes the sword and he flips it in his grip, and with his other with his like shield, because he can kind of open his hand with his shield arm, he comes back and rams this sword right inside after what looked like a near miss, but fortunately this vow is making him very concentrated on the enemy before him, and will hit, and as that happens, he utters some kind of a savage abyssal word, and inside of this creature, there's like a flash, and again you get that kind of like almost cartoonish, like a Blanca from Street Fighter, like you can see this thing's like twisted skeleton inside its flesh, as an energy, like a blue violet energy just sort of bursts from within this creature, and
I know what to use now.
this is going to be, I want to make sure that I'm getting the proper one here. This is going to be, all right. All right, so sword is going to deal 2 damage, with a little bit more on top of that. However, his sword is merely the delivery method.
Bless you.
Ugh.
Bless you again.
Thank you. Must be something in the air irritating my nostrils. Oh! Oh, he went ham. He really did.
Yeah,
Oosh.
shit.
That's bad, right?
That is some sick damage. Yep.
That's we don't want to have to fight this guy.
As he roars, he's just... For an old man, I mean, obviously he kept his body in shape. You saw that. That was exposed this whole time. But the way that he can do all of this is proving that there's some sort of a latent skill inside of him that is a little bit above and beyond, or at least from under someplace. All right. Now we come back up to Bright. Bright, what are you doing?
So I'm a little surprised by the amount of damage that he just did. How does Fiend Lady look?
How does who look?
Fiend Lady.
His
Bang,
axe.
bang. Yeah, he's big fat.
The creature looks down at the wound caused by Bambartilus as he unsheaths his sword from the thing's gut, and looks back up at Bambartilus and.
Okay, evil demon standing tall, time you take your greatest fall. Return to hell, you evil blight, I banish you with arcane might. Now go away and leave my sight, return to the land of endless night. Ooh, that was fun. Also, she rolls a 7.
Goodbye. That's a banishment.
So a banishment goes off, and you're imposing a 7 on the save. Okay.
Beat me to it.
So I, so in this case, I am going to be. How would this work? Because I get advantage on this save, but you're imposing a number.
It blows advantage away.
Oh, it
Yeah.
just overrides. It
Yeah.
doesn't replace. Like it doesn't say it.
No,
I
it
guess
doesn't
even if it
replace one
replaced the
die.
top number, it would still fail. So
Yeah.
okay, gotcha. All right. So in this case, then, Bright with a very poetic, draw of magic and imposing her will over that of this fiends. Be banished. The target is native to the plane. Banish it from the harmless demi-plane. It's incapacitated. Remains there until the spell ends, at which point the target reappears in the space it left, or in the nearest unoccupied space. Okay, so
But
this
this
thing...
is an extra planar creature, so it would go back to...
Yeah.
Which, after a minute, if
Yeah, if I hold it for a
Concentration
minute,
hasn't
she's
been
just
lost,
gone.
Yep, she's gone forever. She'll have to find her own way back.
Okay, so I'm going to... Oh, here's a lovely one. It's a little heart with a chain around it. I think that might be fun. Okay,
It's a
so
long, hard road, I'm told.
Under Bright's just withering but beautiful poem, it sort of turns inside out and turns into sort of particles that disappear.
That was
it's
fun.
take concentration.
Never used it on a real demon before. One's in wizard school. It's not the same.
Not the practice dummy demons. Okay, well, that was a thing. Let's continue on then, and we have its turn.
But it does nothing.
I'm sure it's doing stuff. You probably just don't want to see or hear it.
Oh, but I do. I do.
All right.
Probably cursing
Right.
and swearing and or maybe getting eaten by a larger, more powerful demon.
Bright sent it to the principal's office, and so it's mumbling. Bright's stupid and doesn't know anything. And Okay. So now we come over to Noralai.
Hey.
Yay, my turn. Well, he's the only one there. Is he wearing anything?
No,
Particularly
it
made
is
of
just
metal?
this like really just gross-looking naked fiend.
Okay.
Looks like it's,
and I
it's
want
been,
to,
like boiled.
I want to
in-
move on my turn. I'm sorry,
Oh, no,
I didn't.
Go ahead and move. That's fine.
Oh well, shocking grasp.
Come back here. That's all.
Handshake. Hell of a buzzer.
Okay. Shocking. Whew. All right. Shocking grasp does go off, and it is dealing.
11 damage.
Okay. So you offer. Oh, and that one already has.
So
some,
this is it's not a friendly handshake. This is me just kind of pushing them away.
Sure. Get
Is it
away.
another anime girl please? Like no.
Sure. As that happens, you see that the electricity makes it shake, and it just sort of like sizzles and pops and hisses through the cracks that were already forming on its body from your frost, and it just kind of like explodes in gore and goo and
No.
ichor. However, it does quickly just sort of fade. And
Gross.
anything else on your turn, Norline?
How far away is that guy? No, I'll stay put. Maybe I'll switch sides with Grayson,
Okay. We now come down to
so he's
Mordecai.
further away from the...
Alright, so.
Are you gonna play whack-a-mole with the fiend?
I'm gonna try and, let's see, where am I? Let's see. I move here, and I'm gonna shoot this guy with a guiding bolt.
Okay.
Oh, no.
You dash out, and there's this little fiend that's on top of the log, kind of searching around, and with a guiding bolt. Unfortunately, unless I'm missing anything here, this is going to be a 1. Yeah, you forgot to guide the guiding bolt. So Mordecai, you got this like awesome action sequence in mind. You tumble out from the log. You kind of aim. You look up, and you can say some sort of action quip if you want, or you don't have to. But you take aim, and everyone on the other side of the log can see that apparently some kind of signal flare has been set off up into the. Up into the canopy here.
Some more miles away, there is a small twinkle in the sky, and a strange man with a bag head and a machete looks up at it and realizes, my time has come. What have you done?
But you know what? It was still a cool maneuver, Mordecai, and
It's like lodged in this tree or something.
if nothing else, technically no one saw this because you're hidden behind the log still for out of sight, so you can make up whatever story you want afterwards. Now we come down to Jade.
Yep.
Alright, well, if that's the case, we end up seeing that the man seems to be flanked. The other, more hideous, what used to look like a tiefling, now looked into a huge abomination, and now has suddenly turned invisible due to some meandering of brights. Only is those 2 left there, so I think I'm going to target the one going for the old man, because again, I would hate to end up letting our host end up falling at this point. It's only polite.
Fair enough.
Does 11 do it?
Yes. One of your Eldritch Blasts just slams into this like meaty, fatty thing, and it grinds into it, and some of its contents spill out and splash on Bambartilus, but he doesn't seem to really care right now. and the second one is going to join and like dig deeper into this thing's side. And it is going to actually then sort of be sawn in half while your two Eldritch Blasts puts a big divot in one, and then another blast right into the other. And the thing just sort of looks down and falls apart, and just in a gory explosion that then just turns to mist as if it wasn't there.
One of my favorite death metal bands, Gore Explosion.
Jade is completely serious, but right now, Derek is really happy.
We now come down to Celine.
Yes. So she's got this one sitting in front of her that's just eaten shield. She's like,
Yep.
Tick. Tock. Voing! Straight up into it with the Sunblade as an action.
Sure. What color is the blade that you're manifesting? Is it a nice a Ouija crimson?
Yeah, I'll say with the clerical magics I have it is golden. It is golden, but it changes to be this this crimson color.
Sure.
Tainted with a bit of black.
Okay.
It's just gonna be in one hand, so I only recognize the first number. That's an 18 to hit.
All right. You're definitely gonna hit this little gribbler.
It'll be the first number that comes up, not the second. The second one is if I'm using it in two hands. It is 10 points of radiant damage, but I'm going to spend a use of my channel divinity, and it's going to be receiving some touch of death, upon which it will be taking 19 additional necrotic damage, of which bypasses resistance, because thanks to inescapable destruction.
Whew.
Now you're just making things up.
Death clerics.
When you absolutely, positively need it dead.
All right. So you're slashing with this, or you're stabbing with this thing, like stabbing downwards, or
stabbing upwards into its face.
Okay, so you want to dip down because these are small guys. You want to like dip down really low and just sort of like impale it.
Yep.
Okay. Sure. So the blade crackles red with these sort of like black blotches through. You invoke your own lady, and you swing down low. And despite the blade being made of light, it catches onto this thing, and you hold it up, even, and with a divine word, you send power through it, and this thing, there's a flash, and just everything on the battlefield for just a second, for a millisecond that feels like a minute. Just the leaves that are falling down from the hole in the canopy from Mordecai's errant blast, the water burbling and babbling through the stream. Everything just slows down as this thing just looks down at you, and for a fiend, especially given the context of their assault, it looks down at you and just its eyes widen, Celine, and in a look of not necessarily fear, but a look of recognition, a look of disgust and anger, but with wide eyes, as the thing goes to say, like, it opens its mouth in a very grotesque fashion, and just in that moment, that energy, and the thing just explodes in a radius around you, covering everyone with this gore that begins to bubble and evaporate as this thing is. Tell you what, Celine, make a. You can make an Arcana or Religion check in this process.
I'll make a religion. Why not? Actually, you know what? What?
Oh.
It's not an 8. I'm gonna spend my bardic inspiration.
Oh.
It's a 14.
Okay.
It's better.
So you tried to think nothing happened at first, but fortunately Mordecai got out and helped push. And and an idea formed, especially after seeing this banishment effect. Now Bright's might not have been as gory as yours, but the way that it kind of like discorporated on some like spiritual level, on a planar level, you probably like obliterated this thing. Not just, sent it off to go think about its life decisions.
Cool.
And,
So,
and
that-
there you are, holding the glowing sword aloft as everything now like real time comes back. The brook is flowing, the leaves are falling, combat is swirling, and you're just and you can feel as you wish. But you did a nice skyward strike there.
Yep. So Celine will just swing like with a decorative swing, not actually hitting anything. Swing the sword back to her side, and that's a bonus action. This guy right over here. Whoop! I'm gonna need to switch back to my thing. This guy right over here.
Oh, sure, on the log. Okay.
Yes. We'll see something pop up next to him. A weapon of the spiritual kind.
I've heard of those.
It is a scythe, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And will a 25 hit him?
Yes, it will.
Yeah. He'll be taking 6 force damage
Sure. All right. So
as the blade swings into him.
it swings and it catches its side, and on top of the log, it sort of spins in a circle as just like a gouge of whatever this thing is made of, just sort of like flies off, and so Mordecai, like a little chunk of this thing, just sort of like lands in the grass over here. And the thing on the top of the log here is just sort of like oozing out the side and.
Celine is just going to call over to it in Abyssal just to end my turn, as a little snark thing, because I mean we all know that Celine is that 100% pure snark. She's just gonna turn to the demon sitting on top of the log, and she's just gonna call out in Abyssal, "Are you done?" And that will be my turn. Now, excuse me a moment, I need to use one.
Yep. All right, so it is my turn to go with the remaining demons. A couple of them might end up reappearing. We shall see. Now, do I make the save against slow at the end of my turn or the beginning of the turn? Against the ongoing slow effect.
Good question.
Let me double check.
Posting the spell again.
Yeah, just.
Wisdom
At the end
saving
of the
throw
turn.
At the end of its turn. Okay. I didn't roll at the end of the last one, but that's fine. We've already gone a turn, and we're gonna play it where it lies. So these ones are going to continue to try and like swim over here. They're not making a ton of progress because they're slowed and in this difficult terrain. This one, however, there we go. That one's going to make land. That one's going to start dipping its tootsies in the water, and this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3. And this one is it's going to dive into the river. That one was already slowed. I think then it's going to cross over. Then we are going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Norlai, this one charges up on you. It doesn't attack, but it is getting up close and personal as it's taking its claws and snapping, and it's not doing fun things. It's not making polite gestures. We have the one on the
They're coming
log
towards me.
that was it was hit by Celine, but Celine is kind of far away. There is a spiritual weapon. And sorry, 1 second. My cat's trying to get me. Hey. All right. Mordecai, though, it spins around. You've come out of cover. 1, 2, 3, 4. It is going to slide down the log, leaving kind of like a skid mark of like yellowy white goo behind it. Almost like the log is being a cheese grater on its butt. And it's going to come over and try and swipe at you here, Mordecai. Oh, that's not an 18. That's a 4 instead. So I imagine a 6 isn't going to penetrate your armor class. Okay. Then with a flourish of your rapier, right? You're wielding, right? A rapier.
What?
You're using a rapier.
I had my short bow out, but yeah.
Oh, your short. I'm sorry.
That was the last weapon I had out.
I thought you were casting off your sword, or at least that was in the description. But yeah. Okay, so it's going to come up, and you manage to just very gracefully almost do like a little turn and a dance as this thing goes up to try and claw and hack at you.
I'm an acrobat. It always looks graceful.
And then we had, well, I was going to be juggling more than this, but one of them was completely obliterated. So let's have a little bit of aggro. Those ones are coming in here.